You're on the Unpopular Opinion Show with Johnny Caruso. Welcome to the show. You're on the Unpopular Opinion Show with your host, Johnny Caruso. Welcome to the show, guys. If you see up here to the right, these are our topics of the day. We'll go through the topics, and at the end, I'll give my unpopular opinion. Let's dive right into it. Let's get into it.
Dear Ursula, thank you for your support. Thank you for this day. It's very important for all your support from the very beginning of this war. And it's very important that you are with us and that we speak to America and we speak together. And it's important that Washington is with us. And today, in several forums, we are deciding what we are going to discuss in Washington. Dear journalists, it's crucial that Europe is as united now as it was at the very beginning, as it was in 2022, when the full-scale war began. This unity really helps to reach real peace, and it must stay strong. First, we have to stop the killings. Putin has many demands, but we do not know all of them. And if there are really as many as we heard, then it will take time to go through them all. It's impossible to do this under the pressure of weapons. So it's necessary to cease fire and work quickly on a final deal. We'll talk about it in Washington. Putin does not want to stop the killing, but he must do it. Second, we need real negotiations, which means they can start where the front line is now. The contact line is the best line for talking, and Europeans support this. And we thank everyone. Russia is still unsuccessful in Donetsk region. Putin has been unable to take it for 12 years. And the constitution of Ukraine makes it impossible to give up territory or trade land. Since the territorial issue is so important, it should be discussed only by the leaders of Ukraine and Russia at the trilateral Ukraine, United States, Russia. So far, Russia gives no sign that trilateral will happen, and if Russia refuses, then new sanctions must follow. Third, it's important that America agrees to work with Europe to provide security guarantees for Ukraine, and we are very thankful to the United States and to the President for such signal, and therefore for everyone in Europe. This is a significant change, but there are no details how it will work and what America's role will be, what Europe's role will be, what the EU can do. And this is our main task. We need security to work in practice, like Article 5 of NATO, and we consider EU accession to be part.
Okay, you heard Zelenskyy there. He's trying to get this war stopped with the 10,000-pound polar bear on his back. He has backing, but he needs the backing, because without the backing, the war doesn't stop. I'm not going to give my full opinion right now. Let's listen to Ursula. Let's see what she's talking about.
You're next to me.
Thank you so much.
Voilà. Good afternoon and welcome to the Commission's press room. We are here with the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, and the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, for a press point following their bilateral meeting.
Yes.
President.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank
Dear
you.
Volodymyr. What a pleasure to welcome you back to Brussels. I'm very pleased to be here with you today for our bilateral meeting that we just had, but also then the VTC that we will have in the Coalition of the Willing. And of course, I'm very glad that I'm able to accompany you and other European leaders for the meeting tomorrow that we do have with the US President in the White House. Since the beginning of Russia's brutal invasion, Europe has been at Ukraine's side, united, and we will support you for as long as it takes, for just and lasting peace. And this peace must be achieved through strength. Let me touch upon the main points. First, we must have strong security guarantees to protect both Ukraine and Europe's vital security interests. Ukraine must be able to uphold its sovereignty and its territorial integrity. There can be no limitations on Ukrainian armed forces, be it cooperation with or other third countries or assistance from other third countries, no limitations for the Ukrainian armed forces. As I've often said, Ukraine must become a steel porcupine, undigestible for potential invaders. We welcome President Trump's willingness to contribute to Article 5-like security guarantees for Ukraine. And the coalition of the willing, including the European Union, is ready to do its share. We know that the work of defending Europe is first and foremost our responsibility. And we've been working hard to speed up and scale up as we increase Europe's defense capability. Through the SAFE instrument, we are ensuring that the defense needs of member states and Ukraine can be matched, and that Ukraine's industrial defense base is strengthened. I am thinking in particular of drones here. This is in our mutual interest, and I intend to travel to the frontline member states in the coming weeks. At the same time, we continue to support Ukraine's path to its membership in the European Union. This in itself is also a security guarantee. My second point, with regards to any territorial questions in Ukraine, our position is clear. International borders cannot be changed by force. These are decisions to be made by Ukraine and Ukraine alone. And these decisions cannot be taken without Ukraine at the table. My third and final point, as long as the bloodshed in Ukraine continues, Europe will maintain diplomatic and in particular economic pressure on Russia. We will continue to strengthen sanctions. We have adopted 18 packages so far, and we are advancing preparation for the 19th. This package will be forthcoming in early September. We know that sanctions are effective. We have already put Russia's immobilized assets to work for the benefit of Ukraine, and we will continue to put pressure on Russia's war economy to bring President Putin to the negotiation table. We're working with you, Volodymyr, and President Trump in this sense, and we will discuss all these topics and others in our joint meeting at the White House tomorrow. These are challenging times. Only Ukraine can choose its own destiny, but Ukraine can always count on Europe. Thank you.
Okay, there you go. You heard that. Listen, let's start with Zelenskyy. Or we could just wrap it all up in the bowl. This is going to be the unpopular opinion of the day. So if you're not used to controversy, go ahead and tighten up your chin strap, fasten up your seatbelt, and let's go. Zelenskyy needs help to end this war. The problem is Putin knows he can't just reset and go back to where he was, because that would make him look like a buffoon. You did all this for nothing. And because he had already took Crimea before this war, they're not giving that up. I think the position for Ukraine, the sentiment is they're willing to give up on Crimea if Russia pushes back, right? That's one sentiment. And I think if the U.S. comes in and makes some deals with Russia, raw earth deals, because the U.S. has already crippled, in a sense, Putin's ability to sell oil to Europe. So the U.S. comes in and says, look, we'll help you make money in other means, and, we'll buy some raw earth minerals to help boost your economy some. That may work. But here's the crux. The big crux is Russia's going to have these demands that Ukraine doesn't join NATO. Right? And I think that's not something Ukraine, the U.S., or Europe's going to give in on, because ultimately there's other border states that's Russia borders, and they're already in NATO. And they're like, hey, you cross over here, it's war, it's up. And they want that same pressure, to be established with Ukraine, because they know if they don't, then Putin at any minute will just go right back in. So that NATO deterrence, believe it or not, it's the biggest one. It's the one Putin fears the most, because that kind of, he could play like he's a tough guy, and Russia has this big military capabilities, but we know they don't. And as long as Ukraine doesn't have involvement in NATO, then they know they could go in and out and flex their might anytime they want. So I think if you're wise and you're Zelenskyy, you let Putin go ahead and get the east part. You let him get all that. But what you do is say, hey, if you're going to get all that and not back up, then we are joining NATO. And it's inevitable. Because if you're not willing to do that, then we're going to have to fight for the rest of it. And it's going to come from NATO anyway. So either Putin, you back all the way out, okay? And he's going to say back all the way out and back out of Crimea, right? And we don't join NATO, right? And you can do deals with the U.S. Or take Crimea, take the eastern border, because we can't force you out. Russia is actually going to have to give way here, right? So that, to me, that's what the deal is going to be. Either Russia gives up all their territory gains, and in return, the U.S. won't sanction India and China for buying Russia oil, and the United States will start doing business with Russia to help get them connected. They want to be connected to the Western economy. Makes no sense, because they were already connected selling oil to Europe. So why go and start mess with Ukraine? Makes no sense. Like, he wants to sell it that the Europeans are crazy thinking Russia really wants to attack Europe. But he was the crazy one assuming that the Europeans wanted to attack him, that NATO was getting too close. Why not have them hugging your nuts, be right up on you, get as close as you want? You're selling them oil, so become friendly. More trade, more peace, right? But really, he wanted to flex his power, and he did. So now he's going to have to give up all his gains in return for trade with the U.S. and no sanctions on his partners. Or they're going to be like, okay, have it your way. Have it your way, Putin. We're going to tariff 100% India and China. That's why those tariff deals hasn't been done yet. And they could decide whether or not it's worth doing business with you or buy oil somewhere else, because they sure the hell can't sell you nothing. You don't have a consumer base like the United States, right? So they're going to weigh that out when the tar hits the road. Then you're going to have to realize, okay, it's gloves off. NATO is no longer just allowing drones into Russia. They're going to actually sell Ukraine the F-15s and 16s to go fly deep into Russia. And all it's going to take, I've said this a long time ago. One missile drops into a nuclear facility inside of Russia. They don't have to blow it up, but the people are going to go apeshit crazy demanding an end to the war. because you ultimately win if you can make a nuclear explosion on Russian soil, or the appearance that one might could have, and the danger of that. Then it'll end. But really, Russia controls all the media access. Like here in the U.S., our legacy mainstream media is extremely biased, left-wing, all Democrat. But a lot of us have YouTube and other spaces that we can get around the full 360 news, without having to go turn on CNN, ABC, the regular local news stations. But in Russia, there's none of that opportunity there. They kind of control all those internet bandwidths. What you see in Russia is what they want you to see. So getting the people to, is the idea that we're going to have a Saddam Hussein thing where Ukraine goes in there. It's a possibility the Ukrainians could strike and hit Putin. That's a possibility. But I think if Putin isn't wise here, he's going to go down in a major way. And not only is he going to go down, but he's going to lose all his trading partners, India, China, because they're more business people and peaceful type of people. I mean, we talk China and their military and all that, but when has China ever been in military conflict of a large scale that any of us could think of? I mean, they have this stuff. Does it actually work? Is it battle tested? One thing, you say what you want about, Russia and the U.S., but all our equipment is battle tested. Like, we've used it. We know what it's capable of. And that's why we know who has the strength between Russia and the United States, right? So, look, that's my unpopular opinion of the day. I hope you liked it. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you did. Thank you for stopping by. Love, peace, and happiness.